Hey guys, sorry about that. I have no clue why it decided to freak out. Must be something with OBS. They did change some stuff. I'm just getting John back in here so we can actually do this thing. Give me one quick second on that. I don't know why it did that. It was so weird because every other night it's worked just fine. And tonight it decided to freak out and not do it. I don't get it. Sometimes, Twitter, I mean not Twitter, but YouTube's got to be a pain in the ass sometimes, right? 1 second while I get him the link, because the way I have to do Twitter now with my main account being dropped and everything. God, that's a bummer because I had it freaking all laid out nice and pretty. Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry about this. I know everyone was looking forward to hanging out and talking to John. Just so you know, guys, I will be doing I had it all set up so you could see it. I am doing a giveaway of Graveyard Shift when it comes out. And we will be what up, Pod? Thanks for joining in. So I'll be doing a giveaway of Graveyard Shift when it comes out. You in now, John?
Yep, I am here.
Oh, there we go. Now we got some sound. Yeah, I had I did my whole Wednesday show with Hangouts that way, and it worked just fine. I don't know. Now it just seems so boring on my screen.
Yeah, I saw you had all the nice animations going on. It looked really great.
Yeah, and I had your awesome artwork in the background.
Aw.
Yeah, dude. I gotta say this, man. Graveyard Shift looks really good, man.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna dig the direction it's going. You want to tell those that are in here so far a little bit about it?
Yeah, I just want to get this link out real quick.
Of course.
And I will hop right on that. Hello, everybody in the chat. Thank you all for taking the time to listen to me babble. Yeah, so let's see if I can do two things at once. So Graveyard Shift is a project that a friend of mine, Mark Poltman, and I created around 2010. And it was always, I mean, it was a project that we were doing out of our own pocket. So we received no money for it. We paid to have it colored by another associate of ours named Z, out of pocket. And every time I started working on this project, I got hired. So it always became that the paid work would have to, obviously, I got bills to pay, and, I need food in my fridge. So paid work would always take priority. I ended up doing 2 years of Youngblood, about 2 years of Youngblood for Image Comics. And then I did about an additional 2 years at Marvel Comics just recently. And then I was just about to go back onto Graveyard Shift. And then I was offered a project called Jawbreakers, which was offering me money. It was a crowdfund. As long as it became, funded, then there was paid work for me. So obviously I took that as well. And, if you don't know, Jawbreakers did extremely well. It was, for its time, it was the highest, the most money raised for a comic book, to my knowledge, and on Kickstarter and Indiegogo platforms, and the most backed. And I think right now we still have the record for the most backed. We're about 40 backers away from 10,000 backers. And we were only beat on the money value by a friend of ours named Ethan Van Sciver, who launched Cyberfrog after we had done our initial 30, 40 days, something like that. And he raised $538,000. So,
Damn.
Yeah, so we're all part of this community called whatever Comicsgate. So, which is essentially it's a consumer revolt against the practices of mainstream comics. A lot of far left ideologues have came into the business, and they are using the mainstream characters as mouthpieces for their politics. Which, look, if you want to have politics in comics, okay. Captain America, he's easily a political figure. Green Arrow at DC is easily a far leftist, and but you know the consumer revolt was asking and demanding fair and balanced views going through these companies. There's not one outspoken Republican working at Marvel or DC at this moment that I'm aware of. So,
well, because they wouldn't be working there for long, right? I mean,
yeah. Presumably. So, I mean, I can't really say that, but yeah, I mean, the trend kind of looks that way.
Well, it doesn't, and I know one of the person at Marvel straight up talks about how she has a blacklist. So, I mean, kind of assume.
There was an editor at Marvel, and she was my direct editor. And during the elections, while I was working under her, she had said on Twitter that she said, "Make no mistake." So this is completely intended to be a threat from editorial. She said, "Make no mistake, regardless," and this is, you know, loose quoting. I don't have the quote in front of me. "Regardless if Trump wins or loses, we will remember who voted for him." So this was direct political intimidation. It was not followed up with a letter to most people who work at Marvel are freelancers. So you are only there for the job. Immediately that editor should have been removed from her hiring position, and every freelancer that works for Marvel should have been reassured that their political views are not going to affect their career. And that letter was never sent. That message was never sent. That editor still works there to this day. And when I brought this up to her supervising editor, who was my senior editor, he said that I was punching down.
Down to what?
That it was a thing from the election where basically you can't say anything about a woman. So she can freely discriminate without any repercussions. And because she's a woman, she is below me, and I'm punching down. Even though she was my direct editor, and she was literally the person in charge of me on that project.
Damn. So basic, but okay. So they're California based, or was this out of New York?
They're out of New York. Yeah.
But I'm sure New York is the same. That they have political affiliation isn't a protected class in New York.
I have no idea.
Well, in California, it's a protected class. So that's how James Damore is suing Google, is over a protected class discrimination.
Yeah. Well, there's even been straight up sexual discrimination. Another editor had gone to the New York Comic Con, and on her Twitter, she had released the information about where she would be at for portfolio reviews, which is how people get jobs in this industry. Artists have to go to portfolio reviews.
Yeah.
And she said in the exact same tweet, you know, that they were looking for new talent. She said, "Unless you're a dude." And then she followed that up with, "Well, dudes too, but we see so many of y'all." So clearly they were looking to hire a woman over a man, regardless of ability. And so if you were an artist trying to go to that convention to get a job, the chances of you walking away because of your sex with a job were highly questionable. Again, there was no email reassuring people in the freelance community that this is not a practice that Marvel supports. So their silence tells everybody in the freelance community, watch your back. And if you're a dude, you might want to just start telling people that you're trans, so you can be sure to get some kind of a identity politics voucher.
Jesus. Yeah, that's oh, I don't know, man. It's just it you know, you always feel like it's we look at things a little extreme and all that, but then you hear stuff like this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, and people say, oh, well, you know, some of this stuff's in your head. And it's like, look, this is definitely not in my head. This was all public knowledge. It goes so far as Sana Amanat, who's one of the senior editors at Marvel. I think she's vice president of character development, whatever that means. And yeah, you can do an advanced Twitter search on her account and just type in the word white, and you will see things that if it was anyone else writing this stuff would be considered 100% racist towards white people. But white people are allowed to be discriminated against now. So, but anyways, yeah. So anyways, while this was all happening while I was working there, I saw it all, and I definitely was not pleased. And once they started throwing their stuff onto my artwork, I essentially resigned with notice. So I told them that I would finish my run on cable. And then I was going to step down from that book and hopefully find an editor within Marvel and someone that was not going to chop me off at the kneecaps. And, that was just not going to happen. So.
Yeah, that's it seems to be one of the things that a lot that are coming into the what's it called has experienced the industry and the whole issue with why Comicsgate has gotten so big is because it's separating itself from there's no the politics is that there's no politics. It's apolitical. Let's focus on good stories. Yeah, there's some political stories in there, but it's not driven by hatred and all this other stuff.
Yeah, it's nothing that you wouldn't have received back in the 1990s if you flipped open a comic. If you're around my age, as a kid. So there may be a certain level of politics, but we're looking to deliver these fairly and a certain degree of balance on all of them. And my politics is I'm a moderate, so and I'm the openly admitted that I voted for Obama. But my political views are largely I lean towards libertarian, and so. But these views, in terms of politics, like you can talk politics and you can do them, but we just as part of a Comicsgate community, we say, look, we know there's a line that should be drawn in order to let as many people enjoy these products as possible. So as part of Comicsgate, that's essentially what our goals are.
Yeah, and so I know with like Jawbreakers, it's an adventure story. What would you call Graveyard Shift?
Graveyard Shift is sci-fi horror superhero. So it's best described as the universal. What if the universal monsters were the X-Men? So we are a big genre mix, and because of the mix, I think these characters can if our first crowdfund does well, this is book 1 of 2. But if this does well and the second campaign does well to finish it off, look, we're probably going to take those monies and we're going to start building out more and more graveyard shift material, because the writer and I are both. This is our project. This is something that we'd like to keep doing, into the foreseeable future if there's an audience for it.
Yeah, and I truly think there is. I mean, you already broke your minimum, and I mean, I haven't looked at it recently besides sending out the link. You're sitting at 535 backers right now.
Yeah, which is really cool.
Yeah. So and it's only been around for how long? Like about a week, right?
About 4 days. So
yeah. So that's
Monday. Good. Monday will be a week. Monday at 6 p.m. will be a week.
Nice. So that's a good start to a completely new IP. And I think the movement as a core and everything with people just wanting great stories and well-drawn, books you see, what is it, like 1.3 1.4 million now produced by Comicsgate books and artists.
Yeah, yep. So Comicsgate has, you know, and again, we're all kind of loosely affiliated, but there's probably 7 or 8 books that, you know, get the most attention. And through those, yeah, we've raised over like $1.4 million in about 5 months. So the numbers are going up. So Graveyard Shift is adding to that tally now. And but yeah, so for people that don't know, you know, like even, you know, comic book crowdfunding is no new invention. There have been comics, they have been crowdfunded. Our main strength has been in leveraging YouTube audiences and getting our word out there to subscribers, people that are looking for entertainment. And by hitting that hard, we ended up taking Jawbreakers, which was launching from a platform that had 60,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
And we blew the doors off. But even now, like in our first few days, I think we were at 40, 50,000. So by that comparison, you know, Graveyard Shift is still a modest success. But look, every other guy or gal in the comic book industry that has done crowdfunders, even to get to 25,000, that could have been like 20 days into your campaign. So most campaigns were probably raising anywhere between 0 and 50,000 on average. And if you were doing 50,000, you were likely a well-established comic book pro, maybe 20 years in the industry type figure. So yeah. Jawbreakers was myself, Brett Smith, our colorist, and Richard C. Meyer. And he was the writer and the promoter through his channel. And we left everybody in the dust up until Cyberfrog. So, yeah, but even now with Graveyard Shift being at 27, 28, yeah, 28,000, that's massive. So, you know, we're still breaking records. And, you know, yeah, I'm hopeful that we'll, oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. I said that's a good start for 4 days in.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, you know, and I had before we launched, I even had the goal. I'm like, yeah, if we can do between 10 and 50,000, because I don't have a major platform. You know, my channel probably has about 1,300 people. So versus the 60,000 that was with Diversity in Comics, or yeah. Even when Cyberfrog launched, that had about 60,000 subscribers as well. So, but yeah.
Well, and I think leveraging that and Twitter, you guys have really, really pushed a hell of a trend. And you see a lot of people who have stories to tell and things that they want to share doing well, because they're not playing the game of, you know, identity politics. It's just, hey, I have this great character. I have this great story. Let me tell you it, and, you know, get some good artists like you and Brett and, you know, other people behind it, and see where we go with it. And it's working. I mean, once I found Jawbreakers, I instantly bought into it. Just looking at the art. I didn't even read the story behind it or anything. I was just like, this looks amazing. And then I saw who it was. And I was like, oh shit, I have some of the Cable X stuff sitting on in my you know, hard case for the books. And I'm like, oh, this is the same guy.
Yeah. So yeah. And again, you know, just for context, I mean, if you go to some of the independent companies, places like Image, where people are only making money off of the profit served on their books, we're crushing them. We are absolutely crushing these guys by doing what we're doing. Right now, I don't know where the profit would line out, but the profit that you would get from a company like Image is so small. For I'd probably say maybe 80 and 90% of the books, that, I mean, any profit is pretty much crushing these smaller companies. So it's just hugely successful what's going on right now. And it's going to turn a lot of attention from people who would have normally went to Image or one of these other smaller publishers and say, you know, I might be able to tap into some of this myself. And we welcome that. You know, to be a part of Comicsgate, you know, we want people that are supportive of the same principles that we are in terms of making really good comics and trying to make them for as many people as possible. We want positive interaction with the fans, regardless of who you voted for.
Yeah.
And
set it aside.
Yeah. So as long as you say that you can do that, then look, you know, we're gonna do whatever we can to help promote you. But we want to know that you're gonna put skin in the game with everybody else. You know, we owe that to our audiences and to our backers. That everybody in our audience has some skin in the game. They've all stood up against this SJW invasion into our industry. So we definitely owe it to our fans to say, look, if we're going to help promote one of these other people, we want you to be down with Comicsgate. We want you to be willing to tell people exactly what's going on without fear of political discrimination or sexual or racial discrimination. Comicsgate is down with everybody, except for the SJW mentality. So as long as you can agree that there's a problem in the industry, then look, you can get promoted through Comicsgate. We'll all support you.
Yeah, and one of the audience members was saying so far just 2 books planned for Graveyard Shift. Any other character books in the works that would be from the same universe? Like, do you have any future plans of based on funding? Like, do you have a story? Because, you know, it's going to, if it does succeed, well, it already is a success. And if a second fund succeeds too, when you do book 2, are you planning anything, like writing out anything, or is your writer working on anything for the second and potential branches?
So plans for the future are all pretty loose, but my goals are just like with Graveyard Shift right now, we have a 16-page ash can that's thrown in with the book at the higher tier. But that's a new talent there. That's a girl named Nerd Wonder. She draws like really great anime kind of chibi type characters.
Nice.
So we're pulling from the Comicsgate audience and trying to find talent within that audience to go and help us create these products. But yeah, look, right now we've met what it's going to cost to take care of paying Nerd Wonder, and Mark and I, we had already done the work. We'd already paid for the colorist 2 years ago. So, once we take care of all our printing and our shipping costs, which I think are pretty much zeroed out at this point, then as we continue to grow, and my goal would be a very super successful campaign would be about 150,000, which Red Rooster just closed at.
Nice.
But look, if we got to those amounts, then I'm sure Mark, as well as I, are more than willing to take a good chunk of that, any extra cash, and use it to make the second campaign even bigger. So, like, our first book is 46 pages, plus we'll have some back matter, plus we have the ash can, which is, again, 16 pages. But I would, to see success would be that very next campaign having an additional 16-page ash can, and maybe 20, 30 more pages drawn by a complete other set of creators. Maybe a writer, but definitely an artist, and maybe an art team of an inker. I don't know. It depends on who we would hire. But that would make the second campaign even better. And then when the second campaign comes out, again, if money grows, if the audience builds, we take more of that money, and then we make a third campaign, which would even hopefully be even that much more huger. So we definitely have plans to expand the universe and to do everything. It's all dependent on how much customers are willing to support this title.
Yeah, and I think you have a lot of people in general, and just goes to show, because I don't know what you're following on Twitter, like 10,000, right, roughly?
6 or 7, I think. Yeah.
Okay, so to pull that, you can see that there's a lot of support in the community of Comicsgate, because you're pulling 6 or 7,000. You have a smaller YouTube channel that you do stuff on, like art and other stuff for Comicsgate, and to bring already in 4 days to be funded technically, and then to be growing and, you know, furthering the campaign. And I don't know what your stretch goals were or anything, but I'm sure you're going to put a spine in at one of them.
Yep, we already met that stretch goal. That was our first one, to improve the paper quality. The cover stock is a thicker stock now. The interior pages are going to be a better stock. We added a spine. Our next stretch goal is at 40,000, where we're going to add in a trading card, which is going to be completely exclusive to this campaign. You won't be able to buy it anywhere else. It won't be at conventions. You may only be able to buy it on a resale market.
That's awesome. And so it'll be super limited run to whatever the number of books that end up going out are.
Yep. Right now we're looking at 500 backers. So yeah, we're looking at more than likely 500 cards being produced. Well, and if we get to 1,000, then yeah.
When you figure if you go, let's say you're at 535, you double up, you're at 1,000, that puts you at 50,000. So you hit that stretch goal. That's a pretty limited run, and it's a cool idea. I think trading card kind of, and it's going to be one and the same, or are you guys going to do like two different ones and kind of just toss it in different books?
It's going to be one character, and what I think, we haven't gone into full discussion on how we would do this, but what I think is we'll probably do one of the main characters for this one, probably Vlad, the leader. He's our stand-in for Dracula. And then on the follow-up campaign, we'll take another character, we'll put them in, and but yeah, the only way you're going to get the whole set of cards is you would have to back every one of these campaigns.
That's a cool little idea, because even if you do, you know, let's say you do 4, how many core characters are there?
There's 3 core, but there's actually a 4th who's loosely affiliated. Gotcha.
So if you do 4 campaigns overall, or 4 different stories, or even branching stories, and you hit those stretch goals, then you have there's 4 different versions of the trading card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I mean, our cast can expand, it can grow. I mean, there's really no limits to what we can do with these types of stories. So, you know, I've already said we can take these characters, because they have one of the plot devices is a massive spaceship that's being built by this Elon Musk type character, and our graveyard shift has control of this.
Oh, nice.
And so they can go anywhere in the galaxy. And so, I mean, we can do Star Trek-esque type stories with this. We can do time travel. We can take them back to the Old West. I mean, we can even have it to where they can cross universes and go into other books. So there's another book by in Comicsgate by comic book artist Mike S. Miller called Lone Star. And Lone Star actually takes on some supernatural type threats. So that would be a perfect crossover for Graveyard Shift and Lone Star to have a team up or a crossover type property happening. But then we have Cyber Frog. I mean, they would fit right into going to the world of Cyber Frog, or any of these other properties, even Jawbreakers. We could cross all these guys over because of that ship, which will allow ultimately any form of travel.
See, that's awesome, because you have such a big community of creators that are finally realizing how shitty things can be, and to have that kind of plot device where you can, collab up with anyone is awesome. But I wanted to mention to the audience, one, like up the stream. It does help out with the algorithm and whatnot, and brings more people in who may not know John or myself. Also, share the stream. And if I am doing a giveaway, so if you want in on the giveaway, I've been posting the link to the way I'm going to do. I didn't tell you this, John, but I'm going to do a giveaway of the 25, I think you have set supported book. So once, if anyone does the Streamlabs or enters the raffle, essentially, I'll be giving away a copy of Graveyard Shift.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I figured that's a cool way to promo it and get some people out there sharing it and talking about it.
Yeah, so and just so everyone knows, so our expected delivery date for Graveyard Shift, I put it at excuse me, February of 2019. But look, I padded this date because I feel like what's really important for Comicsgate, and what I really encourage anyone who gets into Comicsgate to do, is figure out how much time it's going to take you to get this book ready. Then add at least 2 more months, because you have to prepare for your artist to get sick, or your colorist, or some kind of hiccup to happen in the line. And then, provided these things don't happen, do everything within your power to deliver early. So my real goal for delivery for Graveyard Shift is before Christmas of this year. So I want to get these to everybody. I think it'd be a great Christmas or holiday gift. And we would be finished 2 months early. So people that don't hear me, through Twitter or YouTube, whatnot, backers who just back and they're not involved with much of the internet stuff, will get a surprise in their mailbox, hopefully, before Christmas.
Yeah, that's a nice time frame. How far, since you guys have been working on it for quite a while, where would you rate completion estimate at, or how much art do you have built up around the story?
So everything on my end for what we're releasing here is 100% done. It's 46.
No shit.
Yeah, it's 46 pages. It's full color. We finished this 2 years ago, right before I got picked up at Marvel. But this is half the story. The other half will be in book 2. And
nice.
That'll be something that I will probably be beginning in the spring, and we'll probably start the crowdfunder when I'm about halfway through with it. So, but yeah, next year will be book 2, and hopefully some what I call satellite books, meaning if this crowdfund does 150,000 range, 1 or 2 additional books slapped in with this book is my goal. That's
awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's I think like I'd love to, because I like to write. Mm-hmm. And I've actually, ever since because I would never get picked up by a studio. I mean, I can write good stories, but I don't know the technique or stylization for writing a comic book. Like, mm-hmm. I'm sure I can learn it. It's probably not too hard. But I was thinking about trying to pencil out a story, learning how to stylize and write for comics, and putting together a story, because I've always been a fan of writing. I have a lot of short stories that I've written over the years, just sitting in notebooks all over my room, Yep. And so it'd be cool to jump into something like this and to see the support. And I wouldn't even expect to do anything big, but it would just be cool to put together a story and see if, anyone liked it, because it's stuff that I put time and effort into, and I think it would be fun to do. And it's got to be, and this is where I was going with this, but with you getting to do the art and, being that level inside of it, do you ever work on stories or anything where you would like to drive a novel, or not a novel, but a comic book?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I also have, a full notebook, excuse me, filled with ideas. And on almost every project I work on, I try to put in my own input. So nice. Jawbreakers had a good degree of input, and Graveyard Shift had even more degree, because this was co-created with me and Mark Polton. So it was no limits on what the ideas are. We're not going to hurt each other's feelings by saying, hey, what about this? So. But yeah, no, I definitely have a goal, and this is probably a year or 2 down the road. But yeah, the ultimate goal is that I would write and draw what I hope would be my own personal masterpiece of a product, meaning something that I feel the art quality is at the absolute peak of what I can do, and to also write a story, multi-layered story that will be engaging, emotional, and exciting. So yeah, I mean, I have I got dreams too. So,
awesome. No, I was just curious because, you know, some people, I mean, I don't know how it is, but some people who are artists, you know, maybe aren't very creative on the writing front, but you've been around the industry for what, 20 plus years or so?
Well, I've been around the industry pretty much my whole life, but through conventions and stuff like that. But directly involved with the industry for 15 to 20 years, somewhere in there. I think my first work came out around 2000 or 2001, if I was to guess, and that was a book called Digital Webbing Presents #1. I did 5 pages, and that's how it used to be that you would get your start. You know, you get together with a bunch of guides, you try to do an anthology story. So, you know, everybody involved with that book actually chipped in money to get the book made. So nobody made any profit off of it, and but that's where a lot of people got their start. Ryan Otley, who became the artist for Invincible, used to hang out with digital webbing and like chatting back and forth and private creator rooms. And Scotty Young, who's also gone on to do Marvel, did the cover for, I think it was Digital Webbing Presents #2 or 3. So, you know, a lot of people were around back in those days on digital webbing boards and other boards like Pencil Jack. But yeah, digital webbing was kind of a launch pad for a good handful of people that are in the industry right now. But yeah, so 15 to 20 years.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Just to have that much time in, and then to be able to, you know, down the road.
Yeah, and this crowdfunding is like a rocket ship, though, because, I mean, before YouTube matured and before Twitter matured and all these other platforms matured, we were still very much on the old model, which is work hard and hope for the best to be able to get into Marvel or DC and start making some money. And then after maybe a handful of years at Marvel or DC, maybe you can go out and do your own independent book at a company like Image, where you can bring back a percentage of your Marvel audience to support a project like that. But we've seen time and time again professionals doing that model, and then they put out a project at a smaller company, and relatively they did not make any money. It would have not been worth their time at the end of the day to even participate. So you really had no choice but to be at Marvel and DC. But now
you also didn't own your property.
Well, yeah. Well, if you went to Image, you did. The Image has and still has a really good deal. The problem is there's the audience is dwindling, and you have people like Eric Larson, who is a far left the political divider, you know, telling off half of the audience. So when you have that, and you're a creator coming to a company like that, and then you have the CFO trying to his best to just whittle down the audience of the company, it doesn't do you any favors. So through crowdfunding and the power of YouTube, it's opened the doors for people to do pretty much whatever they want creatively. Definitely in the Comicsgate community, there's a hardcore contingent of fans. I would probably put them between 7,000 and 8,000, which is, I think Cyberfrog managed to pull in 8,500 and backers, and Jawbreakers is just about to pull in 10,000. But Jawbreakers has two main advantages that Cyberfrog didn't. One was we were highly controversial. We were the first one out the gate. And because of that controversy, we had a publisher lined up to put us into the direct market. But SJWs came after the publisher within 24 hours of announcing our publisher. Our publisher dropped us because of SJW's what are essentially harassment. And that set off a firestorm. So Cyberfrog didn't have that kind of a firestorm under it. But also, we left our campaign running as Indiegogo's allows you to run as a store after your campaign finishes. So you can pick up extra audience, you know, while everybody's waiting for the book to be finished. So through running as a store, we pulled in, you know, almost 10,000 backers at this point, but also we raised like an additional $200,000.
Yeah, you guys went. I remember when the store actually closed. You guys were at like probably like 160. When the campaign ended, that's what I mean.
The campaign ended, we were right around 190, and we had about 4,700 backers, and that was within 30 days. And Comicsgate campaigns tend to run 30, and if they're successful, then people will extend for another 30 to meet demand, and then they'll run as a store, is essentially the idea, or they close completely. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with Graveyard Shift. I'm hopeful that if we hit 150, I'm probably going to end it like solid and just cut it off and then build up anticipation for the next book. But 150 would be my ultimate goal.
That's awesome. And I think you have the core like group of people, and Comicsgate has a good group of people sharing stuff and different things being spread out there. The one thing I wanted to ask you, are you planning on doing any kind of other cross promo with any other channels in the next few days? That way people know where to find you. Maybe they hear something they didn't hear here.
Am I doing like another live stream?
Yeah, when's your next live stream and where's it going to be at? If you know, that way people can find you who didn't watch live.
So Sunday night, we're still penciling in the time, but there's a YouTube channel. It's called War Council. So I'm not 100% what the people on that are like, but it's a smaller channel, but they're big supporters of Comicsgate. So I'll be talking to them Sunday, and my channel on Monday, I'm going to have a conversation with a artist named Ben Jones, and I think we're looking at 6 p.m. Eastern for that. Nice. So if you guys want to learn about a new upcoming Comicsgate project and creator, then yeah, I'll be talking to Ben on Monday at 6 p.m. And everything else is tentative at this point.
So, and I would love to shoot you out to, I have a group of friends, and probably my core audience comes from their channel. They're smaller, but they pull on average, just on their daily show, they do about 120 viewers, and total views of 1,000 or so. But then adding in the Comicsgate and yours, and they're a conservative, basically talk show daily. I'd love to shoot you over to them and have them, because they bring on guests, and that's where I got a lot of my steam was from them, and they're always looking for good people to talk to, and I think it'd be fun for you to go over there and talk. I know, like I know the Quartering's been over on there, Bunty King, Andy's been over there.
Is it the Cunt stream or is it a different one?
No, it's Revenge of the Sis. They do it daily in the daytime. So their showtime is it would be for you. It would be they go live 1 p.m. Pacific till 3 p.m. and they bring.
Yeah, I'm up during the day, so I'm in full promotion mode for the entire time of the campaign. So yeah, anytime during the day is fine with me, and as long as I don't have something scheduled. So I do have like some real world life stuff I have to do. But I'd more appreciate you more than be appreciative if you wanted to connect them through Twitter to me, and we could work out a time. Yeah.
Yeah, and since they do Monday through Friday, I'm sure you could find some time at some point. And
daily, huh?
Yeah, they do daily, Monday through Friday. Both of them were big in actual radio and also in the comedy scene. Really good guys and really fun to talk to. They're good peeps, and they bring the guests in from 2 to 3 p.m. Pacific, and so an hour on. They do their core show for an hour, and I'll shoot you a link so you can check out their stuff. But they're funny guys, and they got a good audience, and I think this Comicsgate stuff and all the your stance and your talking points that you like to talk about with like what went on in the industry is a good fit for their channel, you know?
Sure. Yeah, I'd totally be down with that.
And so I know it's getting late over there. What do you got? What do you got? If you could share anything, and obviously there's things I know you probably can't share. What do you got going? Do you have anything coming up with any kind of the other Comicsgate guys? Do you have any plans? Have you and Richard talked about anything with like doing another book, anything like that?
Right now, I'm focusing on Graveyard Shift and getting this done and promoted. There are a couple things in the works down the line with other people, but there's nothing that I'm able to talk about right now yet.
No, of course. I just was wondering if Jawbreakers 2, if since it's done so well, if you guys had started talking on that end, since the art's done on that, right?
Since the art is done on Graveyard Shift? Yeah, well, Richard right now is doing what Richard's doing, and I'm focusing on a couple of other things right now. So if we do one, then yeah, there could be an announcement. I have nothing to confirm nor deny.
Of course. That's awesome. And I look forward to many future talks with you, Senor.
Yeah, always good talking with you.
And sorry about messing up the
No, I know exactly what you're going through. I mean, look, I mean that I've seen people use that setup before. I think Andy had something like that going on with the multi-window thing. Yeah, it looks really cool. And yeah, if you can get it figured out, it'll be great. And,
I had it. If you look at my Wednesday show, I had my best friend on, and we were doing some bantering about some stuff, and it worked just fine. I think it was I think I just either when I loaded the window in or something. I'm sure if I loaded it in right now, it'd work perfectly.
Yeah, well, whatever. Next time we talk, I don't care. Set it up. You know, if you have a hiccup, that's fine. We just do what we do. Yeah, so I understand. I mean, you got to try it. You got to get it figured out at some point.
Right. And for anyone new or anyone watching after the stream, the link to the Indiegogo page is in the description. Check out the art, go support independent comics and comics that aren't driven by political correctness. Anything you want to say on the way out, Mr.?
Yeah, I'm also on Twitter. You can follow me at Jon Malin. I have a channel which is probably connected to this account, but you can search Jon Malin and just subscribe to the one with whatever, about 1,300. Because I have two different accounts. One is my personal account where I just... And people can subscribe to that too. I got music on there that I listen to while I work, motivational stuff that I also listen to. And yeah, so if you want some of that, you can go to the lower one. But the main channel with the art and the talk and whatever is the Jon Malin with about 1,300 subscribers.
And I'm going to go ahead and include that link for anyone who may want it. It is in the description as well. So that way you don't have to hunt for his channel. Always a pleasure, John. Thank you for coming on, and let's whenever you can start talking about things, I'd love to have you back on again.
Yeah, absolutely.